Welcome to Circus and YouTube, Creators Wanted. This Pro Talk is part of Circus Talk's new Pro Space for Pro subscribers. Pro Talks are regular virtual live events about relevant topics led by industry professionals and experts. These events give you the opportunity to gain new insights, meet fellow professionals, and keep your career connections strong. I am your moderator, Veronica Blair. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I am a medium brown-skinned African-American woman with tight coily hair fixed on top of my head. I am wearing a long sleeve blue shirt with silver hooped earrings. I am joining you today from Coco Cay, which is one of the Berry Islands, a collection of cays and small islands located in the Bahamas. I know, it's so exotic. Let's jump right into it. Since its origins in 2005, YouTube has transformed itself from a platform built to make sharing videos easier to one that distributes original content. It is one of the largest video distribution platforms on the internet and has more than 4 billion hours worth of video views every month. And get this, it has an estimated 500 hours of video content being uploaded to YouTube in 1 single minute. Can you imagine? It has also enabled the creation of an entirely new profession, the YouTube content creator. Now more than ever, people are dedicating their lives to creating content specifically for uploading to the platform, making YouTube a full-time job or a part-time gig in hopes of internet stardom or an additional stream of income. But how can circus professionals take advantage of YouTube? How can we use a platform to expand our audience, build social awareness about circus arts, and build an online community? And that is what today's discussion is about. I'd like for our panelists to introduce themselves, starting with Leah.
Hello, my name is Leah Torren-Jenner. I'm from Germany, but I'm joining you currently from Montreal, the native land of the Mohawk and other related tribes. My pronouns are she, her, hers, and I actually have 3 different YouTube channels. One is my personal one, which is called Leah Torren-Jenner, like my name. Then I have one for my duo, which is called Duo Unity, and that's the name of the channel and the name of the duo. And then I have like a travel related channel that's called Unity Adventures, where I travel together with my partner. And I am a 5'8" female Caucasian with long blonde hair and blue eyes, and I'm wearing a blue tank top. And I think that's it for my introduction. I'm happy to be here.
Thank you, Leah. Noelle?
Hi, I'm Noelle. I use she, her pronouns. My YouTube channel is Noelle Akoba, and I've only been on YouTube for a year. And I am a tan Filipino woman with black short hair, and I'm wearing a black V-neck. And I am joining you today from Montreal on the native lands of the Mohawk and other related tribes. And that's it for me.
Ross, jump in there.
Hi, I'm Ross Travis, and my pronouns are he, him, and my channel is called Antic in a Drain. And I've been on YouTube for about a year, creating content once a week. And I am white-skinned guy with a gray hooded shirt on, and I'm about to play a unicorn in a show, so I have a haircut that is short in the front and long in the back, like a mane. I'm trying to grow it out so it's like really long in the back. And I am in Mendocino County in California, which is the land of the Pomo tribes and related tribes of the Pomo.
All right. Thank you, Ross. All right, let's just jump into this. Guys, what inspired you to start your YouTube channel? What kind of content did you set out to create in the beginning? Noelle?
Yeah. So I sort of have this crazy circus journey where and very like not typical. So I started at a later age. I started at 21 and I didn't have a dance or gymnastics background. And I set out and was like, I'm going to become a professional circus performer, no matter what anybody says. And I really didn't know anything about circus. And over the years, I've just really hustled my way and landed on some like big stages and performed for companies. I and I just wanted to share sort of to other people through YouTube, that if I can do it, um, and you have like an impossible dream, or you want to become a circus performer too, but you're starting at a later age and you have all of these obstacles, like I feel you, and like you can do it too. And I just wanted to share like what I've learned along the way too, because I honestly wish I had someone to look up to who had a really weird journey like I did, when I was starting out. So that was really my inspiration for it. And I was inspired actually in 2019 to start my YouTube channel. But there is sort of this stigma, I think, in circus, at least before, not so much now, that if you have a social media presence, you're sort of like looked down upon, if that makes sense. And so in 2019, I was honestly too afraid to start a YouTube channel because I had just moved to Montreal and I really wanted to prove like I'm a real circus performer. I don't mess with YouTube or social media. I'm in it to win it, and I don't care about social media. But then in 2020, actually something very tragic happened in my life. In January of 2020, my cousin, who was 28 years old, suddenly passed away, and he had lived his life so fully and so just so bravely. And I know he like passed away with no regrets. And I decided like from that moment on that I would do the same and be just as brave as he did. Like his whole life was like that. And I was like, I have this gut feeling that I should probably start a YouTube channel and like share my weird journey. Maybe it'll connect with people, and maybe it'll help others in some weird way, maybe. And so that actually is what sparked my YouTube channel, is that sort of tragic moment, and realizing I need to be braver and do brave things, like share my story and my crazy weird circus journey on the internet. And so the content that I create is a lot of kind of giving you like the tea, as like Gen Z people say, about circus, and sort of looking at like the social aspects of circus, and also just kind of, like I said before, I wanted to help other circus performers who have like a weird, crazy journey feel less alone, if that makes sense. So that's what I do.
Wow, thank you, Noelle. And Ross, what about you? What inspired you to start your YouTube channel, and what kind of content do you create?
So when the pandemic hit, I was like suddenly had no gigs. I also suffered a pretty severe injury at the beginning of 2020. And so I was actually in quarantine with my mom, who's here. Hi, Mom. And I was like, I had always wanted to have a YouTube channel or create on YouTube, and just never had the time, or just didn't make it happen. So I was like, okay, there's no work. I'm like in quarantine here. I want to keep creating. And so I was like, this is the opportunity. Also, I'm a satirist as well as a circus performer. So my channel is very much both of these things. And I was interested in trying to find my tribe more. I tend to create theater shows and solo shows, and I had always felt like I was kind of preaching to the choir in a theater show that is satire based, and was interested in reaching out uh, further and into the world, and challenging folks and finding new audience members. And so YouTube was a way to do that. And then simultaneously, all the social justice and racial equity stuff was happening this summer, and so it was important for me to be a part of that as well, and create content around that. So my channel is like very eclectic. Like I created a coronavirus character that I made a bunch of musical videos with over the summer, and so that was super fun. And so it goes from that to I also like wanted to speak to our situation as artists in the world, and especially in the United States. So I have a couple videos on my channel about just the history of arts funding and our situation here, because it's like it's like not that great. And so in the pandemic really highlighted the disparity and just like how awful it actually is. So I made some pieces about that, and really political pieces. And then also, like a couple weeks ago, I just made my first Chinese pole training tutorial, and I made a behind the scenes here. I'm with Flynn Creek Circus up in Mendocino, and so it's like all over the place kind of. But yeah, so all of these things made me want to start the channel.
Thank you, Ross. So we have like Noelle, whose channel is more about inspiring people and helping people, give people kind of a view into her life as a circus performer, and letting people follow her on her journey in training and things like that. And you're also serving little industry tea on your channel. Ross, it sounds like you have a lot of political commentary, social commentary, and you're using it as a creative outlet outside of what you do as an acrobat. But Miss Leah, you have 3 channels. You have
Yes.
one that is just dedicated to you, and you also have like a really cool late night circus show. You have one for Duo Unity, which is you and your partner, and you also have a travel YouTube channel. How did this happen, and how do the channels differ from each other?
Yeah, so when I started YouTube, this was until 2011. So this has been like 10 years ago. It was basically just a place to put my acts. So I was in circus school here in Montreal, and I wanted to show people what I was doing. And like at the beginning, the first 6 or 10 videos are basically just the acts that I was doing throughout the years. And that was kind of the start of that. And then when I started my duo, we basically made another channel, that the Duo Unity channel, for our duo acts. So that would be the place where people who would eventually hire us would find us. And then when I came back to Europe, I noticed how many people didn't really know about circus and about modern circus. And I really had the feeling that I wanted to show people, because it just, people were thinking that I was still working with elephants and tents and things that was just not true. And I thought there was a lot of space for basically educating them and also showing them how cool circus actually is and how much it has changed over the years. So I started making videos and vlogs of like, what is circus? What do I do? And at the beginning I was really shy, and it was like more like little diaries, but of course you gotta start somewhere. And then I was invited to do the Festival de Cirque de Demain, and I saw that basically Arte, the television channel that does the broadcasting, they only broadcast one of the shows but not the other show, and how much interest there is around the world to watch that festival. So when I was there, I decided to make like little vlogs about what's going on, what the training looks like, and what acts there are. And I was also giving them like my top 3 favorites of each show. And those videos really made it far because the whole circus industry kind of was into that, especially the other artists who wanted to go to that festival and people who were still in school. So I did those like for 3 years. And at that time, my channel that was originally like my acts became like my acts, but also some vlogs, but also like teaching about circus. And it became kind of a mix of that. But with my duo partner, we decided that we didn't want to do that for our duo stuff because we really wanted to keep it a place where when people want to hire us, they would find just our acts. And we've put just the acts over the years. We do two different types of acts, one in the air, one on the ground. And we have all of that there. Very clean and very professional looking videos. So when we started traveling, we were like, oh, it could be so cool to make like travel videos of where we're going and how things looked like in the backstage. But we didn't want to have the pressure of having it like super highly produced. So we were just happy to film with our phones or with small cameras. And that's why we decided to make this Unity Adventure channel that was not necessarily for circus people. It was more for people who like to travel. And a couple of videos on there like really exploded because like we travel to places where people usually do not travel. So it ended up being those 3 places. And I kind of like it that it's all separate because on mine, I can do whatever I want. On the duo, we have the highly produced videos. And on the travel, it's kind of the same as what we want, but it's the 2 of us. And so that's the whole story of how that happened.
That's really amazing. It's really amazing, but it sounds like a lot to manage. So you're on YouTube, you're creating content, you're looking and finding, because YouTube is not just a simple, oh, I posted a video and now 1 million people are viewing my video. It takes a little bit time to get there, right? So you guys have been posting videos. What was the first video where, wow, I got 1,000 views. Whoa, I'm getting 2,000 views. Wow, I got 10,000 views. Like, what was the video that like took off for you guys?
I'll jump in there. So the first video that really took off for me was a satire of the satirist J.P. Sears. So I was he's like, I don't know how, he's like a conspirituality kind of satire guy. And I made a satire of him called BS Sears, just making fun of him and his just challenging what he's all about. And that blew up partially because some of his his followers, his people found it, and so it's pretty controversial. And right now it's like it's about 50-50 with the hate and the love on it. So yeah, and then but like the shorts, like right now it seems like these shorts is the way to get in, and I've noticed, Noelle, you've been doing that too. And like I have one that I posted a couple weeks ago that has 15,000 views, and I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool, but yeah, so that's it for me.
So yeah, just to let's pause there, because you mentioned the shorts. Now the shorts are a new feature on YouTube. They're similar to stories, and they're trying to take advantage of the people that Instagram culture, people that have the short attention spans and just want to see something really quick and entertaining. And as Ross mentioned, Noelle, you took advantage of that as well to attract more people to your channel. So if you could please share a little bit more with us about how you used the stories on YouTube to elevate what you do, elevate your channel, and let us know which was the video that was your breakout video.
Yeah, totally. So so with shorts, they're like little short under 60-second vertical videos. And like Veronica said, they take advantage of like the stories, the TikTok sort of like culture. And the way that I use those, because I sort of know that like on any sort of these social media platforms, if there's a new feature, you need to use that, because that's the feature that the platform is going to be pushing out to the public. So I was like, okay, why not? I'm a new channel. I'm just going to do it. And the video that made me realize, whoa, shorts are actually a thing, was actually it was like Ariana Grande made a song called Positions, and it says something like, I'm switching positions for you. And so I'd like do a sequence on both silks and rope, and then it's the exact same sequence, and I cut it in a way that, like, when I said switching positions for you, or when she said switching positions for you, it would go from like silks to rope seamlessly. And that happened to get like 30,000 views in a day. And I was just like, okay, they're really pushing out shorts. So then when I realized that, I was doing one full length video a week plus like 2 to 3 shorts to really start boosting up my channel. And that's how I sort of gained quite a bit of a following during that time. I don't think it's sustainable, to be honest. It's a lot of work, but during that time period, I was really seeing like an influx of views and subscribers, and yeah, so I really took advantage of that. And to be honest, especially like in the US right now, they rolled out like it's still shorts, but they're making like a beta feature on it so that you can actually like film with your phone and like just kind of like TikTok, just like upload it easier than having to go like on your laptop and do it. So it's still like hot and poppin', and like anyone who wants to get into is a circus YouTuber, honestly, do shorts, like, just period.
Yeah, and the beta one in the US, it's only 15 seconds for the phone. So you can still do the minute. It will be considered a short, but on the app on the phone, you can only film 15 seconds. So yeah.
Oh, and kind of jumping
Wow.
off that, that's also what I noticed. Like, if you're a new circus YouTuber and you're doing like shorts, I actually agree with that. All of the videos that have gotten like quite like a lot of views, at least for my shorts, are all under 15 seconds, because I was testing it between like 15 seconds, 11 seconds, like 60-second videos, and all the 60-second videos, people don't have an attention span for that, which is really sad now. Like, it has like 15 seconds is yeah, Ross hit it. 15 seconds that's it.
And same with TikTok. Like, I noticed on TikTok, it's like you go over 15, 20 seconds, you're like, it falls off how many people will stay, yeah. So
Lots of good information, you guys, for those people that are breaking into YouTube. Thank you so much. Noelle, what was your first like breakout video on your channel? So you gained a lot of subscribers from using the shorts feature. What was the video where you were like, okay, wow, this is what people want to see from my channel?
Yeah, it was it was a really great title. It was like I ran away and joined the circus and found out it's racist. And it was basically an experience that I had about racism in circus. And that was and this video is like really special to me because I honestly thought, so basically I shared my experience in the beginning, and then in the middle I shared like, this is the changes that maybe should be made, if anybody is listening out there on the internet. And then the ending is like my act, because my act is based on sort of those experiences that I've had. And so I put it out on the internet, and I was like, okay, I'm blacklisted. Like, I'm like, that's the end of my career. No one's gonna hire me now. But at least if someone out there feels the same way that I do, they know that they're not alone. Because for years I thought I was crazy, because circus is both like a very loving environment, very communal and very family, but also is and Veronica has the Uncle Junior project, and I heard it from one of the documentaries there. It's a microcosm of society. So there's going to be, unfortunately, these sort of like inequalities that happen even within circus, even though it is very family oriented. And so I put that out on the internet. I'm like, I don't know who's going to see this, but I'm prepared to get blacklisted. I'm prepared to get hate. Like, okay, let's go. And surprisingly, that video, like, it took off. It got shared. It was amazing kind of to see like the geography of it. where it went, I saw it go to like Switzerland and like Germany and like and I'm from like the US, so I was like, whoa, this is crazy to me. And just that was the video where it was just like instead of like, hey, it was a rally of support and a rally of love and a rally of people saying, you know what, you're right, I've seen it, we've just never really talked about it, and in the circus world, and 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 that, and sort of just to kind of go off of that to really like witness this last year, because that was in the heat of like the Black Lives Matter movement, and and obviously like the things that happened in the circus community isn't just because of me, but I do think it did bring awareness in the circus community about how there is a lack of representation on our stages, and it's amazing to see now directors actually thinking like, oh, what different types of bodies can I put on our stages, and I've been able to like witness that and see that and be in those conversations now, and I'm just like, whoa, one tiny voice from a little like Filipino woman had some little influence, I think, on the circus community, and I was like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's my breakout video.
Well, I think it had Well, I think it had a lot of impact. And that just speaks to the power and the impact of YouTube and how we as circus professionals can use the platform to elevate ourselves in our industry. Leah, you have 3 channels. It seems like the travel channel has a crazy amount of views. When did you realize that the travel channel was the one that was gonna take off? What was the video that let you know that?
Yeah, it was really for the travel channel. It was the smallest one for the longest time. And then we went to take the Trans-Siberian train from Russia, from Moscow to Beijing. And when we were planning that trip, that was actually like basically when you work somewhere, usually people will pay you the flight to go there and like travel to go back home. But if you tell them, I'm not going back home, I'm going to, for example, Beijing, they will pay that travel. So we were doing a festival in Moscow. And then we said like, oh, we have time after, let's do something crazy. Let's take that train. So when we did like research on how we would travel on that train, basically we noticed that there was no information whatsoever of how the wagons looked like. So once we were there, we were like, oh, it's actually quite cool and quite interesting. And there's no information of this whatsoever. Let's make like a wagon tour, like just a very silly wagon tour where like he opens the door, I'm lying in the bed, I'm showing the shower and all of that. That video went crazy, and it has like 1.2 1.5 million views, maybe now even more, like crazy. Yeah. And that's basically like our whole travel channel is based on that, and then people who kept following us after that. And that's also the reason why it's good for us that channel is separated, because like these people don't really care about circus. They want to have like hotel reviews or stuff like that, or more like, where do you go in a city to visit? So that was that for that channel. And then for the other 2 channels, it's really like luck. We have on the Duo Unity channel, there's a video that had like over 4 million views, which is actually our act. And we have no idea how that happened. It's titled just like Do As You Will, like our other videos are too. I think somebody has taken it and put it in some forums, and it just went somewhere in the internet. And that's really cool because it gives us a lot of work also. So if you type in, if you're looking for a Do As You Will and you put that into YouTube, we will be the first ones coming up, and like even the first 5 acts or so. So we have noticed that we actually have a lot of circus work from there. And that's why now we also make sure to like properly title all these videos and make them nice, because we know that there's actually a way to work from that.
Thank you. It's what I find, and something that you said, Leah, and what I'm finding with Noelle's breakout video, Ross's breakout video, Leah, your breakout video on your travel channel, and you hit the nail right on the head. You said, well, people aren't really interested in circus. And this is really important, because all of your breakout videos were were you as a circus professional performer or a clown doing what you do, but sharing a part of your experience that is not necessarily circus related, which resulted in views. So like in your instance, Noelle, you were talking about your experiences with racism in the circus industry, which at the time was the perfect moment last summer to launch a video like that. Ross, the same with you. You were doing political commentary and it hit right at the same time. And I think that for most people, they may not even have any knowledge of the background of what you do as a clown, as a physical actor, as an acrobat. You're an incredible pole artist as well. But on YouTube, those things kind of don't matter as much. Leah, with the travel vlog, you turned your adventure with your partner into a travel vlog, which attracted views. So I think it would be safe to say that attracting views on YouTube is more about tapping into the trends, like with the shorts, like we discussed earlier, or tapping into things that are like popular on YouTube that are the most searched. And also it sounds like having the correct title, having a clear title as well as beautiful videos, beautiful content is very important as well. With that being said, how has having your breakthrough video, like how has that influenced the kind of content that you create?
I'll go.
We can start that off with Noelle.
Oh, go ahead.
Sure.
Oh, okay. I guess yeah, I'll go first. So oh, am I going? So
yes, you can speak, my dear.
okay. So it's interesting where the rate, like my racism video was my like very first breakout video, but I noticed over time that that was like my very first one. But another type of video that gets a lot of views is whenever I use contortion. If you're a contortionist and you want to do YouTube, honestly do it, because people are fascinated with contortion on YouTube. So I do a series called Circus Performer Reacts, and so I experimented reacting to like acrobats and like aerialists. But if I react to a contortionist, especially a popular contortionist, so for instance, if I put Sophie Dossi in my thumbnail, if I put another girl is named Anna McNulty in my thumbnail and I react to their contortion videos, those pop like right off the bat. And so even though like my heart and my soul is talking about, like what I love talking about is sort of this like social justice commentary about circus and also like helping other circus artists, like that's my bread and butter, that's like what I love to create. I'm still creating trending videos like this Circus Performer React series about contortionists, to sort of also garner that sort of audience. And that audience really is very separate from my other audience. It's an audience that doesn't know about circus. And it's also a way to sort of like educate the public about circus and kind of bring them into our world and talk about like, you know, that trick is dope, but that trick is actually pretty easy. And like, and kind of give the honest truth. And they're like, whoa, that's crazy. But yeah, I also do make, like Veronica said, make sure to like do those trending topics in order to bring in people who aren't necessarily circus, because circus is so niche. So it is important to like get other people interested in it. So that's all I have to say on that.
All right, Ross, you want to jump in there?
Yeah, sure. So, well, so like with this video with JP Sears that I made, you know, that was cool that it got all this attention, but it was like, so I made another one and I'll eventually make a third one, but it was like, I had made all this other really cool stuff. Like I made this huge coronavirus character that like I had been making all these videos that I like were more like uh touched me more and were more close to me. Um and those hadn't gotten that kind of attention. So I was like, it was like kind of bittersweet. And I was like, um, you know, because I had made a satire of someone who's really well known and blah, 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 very much in the public eye, that had gotten pushed. And this other stuff that was like, that I wish would grow but isn't is like well known or whatever, was not. So that's been a challenge with me with the platform in general. And so it's like, yeah, there's these forces, you know, it's like the popularity going towards the what's popular is opposed to what you want to actually create, which, so I'm like fighting that battle same as you, Noelle, like, you know, trying to like pull people in with this stuff. And I've started doing more of the shorts and stuff. But then hopefully through doing that more popular stuff, we can like then expose them to the other aspect of what we do. Um, which I think is important in brings people in the YouTube world into what it is to be an artist and what it is like different forms of art, and exposes them and and builds their consciousness around what we do. And then hopefully that can bring them back like into the theaters to see our shows, you know, like, because I think that's something that's cool about YouTube too, is that we can show, like with what you're doing, Lie, like show who you are as a person and the travels, and then people get intrigued, and then hopefully they'll buy tickets and come, like, because right now people are getting more and more on their phones in the YouTube and the TikTok, and hopefully we can like pull them back out and into what we do on the stage too through these mediums. So yeah.
Yeah. Um, just thinking of ways to continue to innovate, take circus, what we do as circus professionals, and innovate it and marry it with these popular topics and trends. And Miss Leah, you have created a late night circus talk show, which is fun. And can you tell us a little bit more about this late night talk show, and how you came up with the idea?
Yeah, sure. This is actually my dearest project right now that also brought me through the whole Corona times. It was basically at a moment where I realized I really missed the stage and I needed to make something myself so that I could still be performing and still be on stage. And then I was like, maybe I can just make my own show. And at that time I was living in Berlin in a quite big apartment, or with like quite high ceilings, like the old type European apartments. I had like 3.40 meters of ceiling. So I put in like an aerial rigging, and I basically built it all that there was enough space to have a stage. I even had one show with Serial in there, which was like super sketchy, but really cool. And I decided those shows had to be live. So I was streaming them on Twitch, and it was me every week with a different circus guest. And so it was a mix of, the guests would always perform parts of their act, but because it was so small, I was also showing a lot of videos. And whilst I was showing those videos, we had time to change the set or change the costumes in the background. And then there was a lot of talking, but we also went into more like intimate things, because I had the feeling like I have heard the story so often of people starting circus and they wanted to become an artist and they went to a school and then this, and it's always kind of the same story, like, and most of the times. So I tried to do like a different angle, and I tried to make it a bit more like young and fresh. So if people were single, I asked them if they were on Tinder. And if they were on Tinder, I asked them if I could show their profile. And so we were going through the pictures together. Sometimes if it was a boy, we're like, oh, would we be a good match? And then we would try things out. We'd be like, oh, could we be a good duo? And it was kind of going really, I would say, intimate and pushing the limits. And we also had the option of having alcohol, which of course we made sure to have that only after the circus performance. So just have basically the first half was like circus and acts, and then it was just games and fun. But that also brought like the whole thing of people being more willing to share things. And so I made people become more human, so that people basically see like a circus artist is a circus artist and they can do crazy tricks, but there's a human behind that is also on Tinder, that is also having the same issues as everybody else. And I thought like there is actually potential to have people interested through that. So I've had so far, I think 12 to 14 shows. I'm currently re-editing them because I want to put them on my YouTube channel so that people can watch them back. I thought it was very important to have it live because that's part of circus. Like circus is live, and like the option that something goes wrong, the fact that you're like nervous, and all of that I think is very important. But I want still to have an option to watch it back because not everybody can make that time. And maybe also another thing important to add is that I try to not to make it like a circus show that is filmed, because I had the feeling lots of people were doing that and nobody was really interested, or me personally, I was not so interested in watching a recorded circus show. So I wanted it to be more TV-like, but I also wanted it to be interactive. So there were in the chats, you could type in clap as the audience, and then there was a sound effect of applause coming. And the more people clapping at the same time, the louder it would get. So we would have a feedback directly from the audience, feeling that somebody is there. And the audience could feel that what they were doing was also like part of the show. So the whole concept for me like makes a lot of sense. And what was just hard is to find people to come and watch that show. Because when you say, yeah, it's a Saturday night at 8, people have to be there at that time. And nowadays people are so used to watching things whenever they want to. You have Netflix, you watch a movie when you want to. You're not used to that anymore, that you have like television, it's just once a week. So that is a challenge and was a challenge. But since I'm deciding to have it also recorded, I'm not worried so much of like having a smaller audience. And right now I'm working on having the same show here in Montreal. So I'm always taking local artists and trying to have the best of the best, of course, so that also people are starting out with circus, that they have like circus stars coming in. I mean, to become a circus star is already kind of funny in itself, because we don't have that many stars. Nobody will know them, but like somebody I had on, for example, is Tim Kriegler. He does straps and he did Cirque de Main, and like people know him, or Diego Sales. Also like some people who are in the circus community a bit more famous, so that maybe people in the schools would be then interested in watching these shows. And yeah, that's my project that I'm doing right now, and I'm hoping it will go somewhere from here.
Wow, that's amazing. And you've like graduated to Twitch, which is amazing. And we will save that topic for another panel discussion. But I think it's also great because you're able to create content twice. So you have live content for Twitch, you edit it, and then you will be able to upload those videos to your channel where people can review them whenever they want, because that's how we live nowadays. It seems like you guys have you're really figuring out how to marry circus and hot topics, things that are happening in our society day by day. But there's still this big elephant in the room, which is the YouTube algorithm. And typing circus into the search box on YouTube turns up all kinds of like interesting and kind of weird things. So if you type in circus, you get like Britney Spears circus song, or you'll find videos of a contortionist, which is really popular on YouTube. You'll eventually stumble across a Cirque du Soleil video. Just so you guys know, typing the word Cirque into the YouTube search engine will turn up more circus results than actually typing in the word circus. The word circus turns up freak show, dubstep music, and circus accidents, which unfortunately tend to have the most views on YouTube. So how can we as circus performers start to influence the narrative on circus and circus performers? I think Ross, you kind of answered this a little bit before, but how can we as circus professionals really take YouTube, encourage the algorithm, and kind of control the narrative on circus? I threw that one to you, Ross.
Oh, you threw it to me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
Catch it. Catch it.
I was like, who's gonna go? Who's gonna go? Well, I think like what everybody's doing here in this panel is like doing that, and is showing who we are as people, and that can gain interest. Like the other day, this week actually, I made a behind the scenes video of our act showing day here at Flynn Creek Circus. And, you know, that's an aspect that people don't get to see as much as like us training and us, you know, showing our acts like when they're not ready, and our personalities backstage and the way we train together, and us in the space, like playing, having fun, laughing, us as people. So I feel like that can, because especially in these times, I think that when people are starting to not be in the theater as much, and wanting to be on their phones, I think folks are wanting more intimate and a more intimate experience. So I've noticed this trend, like in the theater world, like theater shows are more immersive, like and people are interactive, and so there's this aspect. And so I'm wondering if like using these platforms can be a digital way of reaching out in a more intimate way, and like you know, bringing folks in. I don't know if that, yeah.
And putting more of a face, like a real face,
Yeah.
on circus,
Yeah.
instead of leaving it circus and it's performers, instead of leaving it to the imagination.
Yeah. Yeah.
What keeps you guys motivated? Leah, you've been on YouTube for about 7, 8 years. Like, what keeps you motivated? Do you experience burnout? Do you leave for a while and come back? What keeps you motivated?
I think there was a time where I put a lot of pressure on myself because I wanted to make it as a circus influencer, if you want to call it so. And I noticed the more I was looking at that, looking at the views, looking at how many people were watching it, and putting all that pressure on it, it didn't make it fun anymore. But I really like editing, and I really like filming things. And I really like to take the camera in a moment and just film something because feel I have something to say. And I feel the moment I took away the pressure of people had to be interested, it made it lots more fun for me. And I also stopped having the pressure of having like a fixed schedule and having all those things that are definitely things that will help you make it on YouTube. But it just wasn't the right thing for me. Like for me, it was really more like, I love to have this diary of my life on there. And I love that people who are interested in circus can look through all of the videos and can learn tons of things, because I have tutorials and I have backstage things and I have my act. And I'm very open also if people want to reach out to me. So I do get very often messages of young people who want to become circus artists, and I tell them to write me and I answer them and have all of that there. But I would say maybe 2 or 3 years ago, I I took away this pressure of becoming a circus influencer. I thought that's not the right thing for me. And I feel since then I can make whatever I want to make. And that's maybe also, I wanted to maybe say something about what Ross was saying, like at the beginning of this conversation, of like having videos that are interesting to you and that you spend a lot of time on working and you have this character you're making. I think that's a success in itself. Like the fact that you spend, I don't know how many hours making something that you were passionate of making, and it now exists there, and you made something, you created something, that's a success. And how many people are going to watch it at the end? That is out of your hands, and it's about the people. Maybe people will not like it, but maybe that's also not so important. And so for me, what motivates me at the end of the day is, if I'm waking up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God, this could be such a cool video, I want to make this. Or, oh my God, what a great song, this would fit perfectly for like an improv act. Or I'm like, oh, this is such a cool event, I want to tell my friends about it and make a video about it. Those are the things that motivate me now, and not anymore like, how many followers do I have? How many subscribers do I have?
I love that.
Yeah,
Thank
I'm
you.
sure it can be really, I think it can be really discouraging for circus performers who are used to performing tricks to a live audience and giving and receiving that energy and having that energy exchange between the audience and having that applause, to pouring their energy into a piece of work such as digital content, a video, a short, putting it out there to the world and not having that instant feedback, or not having their video blow up like they imagined in their mind. So I can imagine that when you're first starting out on YouTube, it could be a little discouraging. Noelle, did you experience any of that?
Yeah. It's yeah, when you're a performer, it's exactly what you said. Like you feed off of that energy exchange, and you're, having like a dialogue with your audience. And when you're sitting in front of a camera, there is no dialogue between you and the audience. It's just you and like a device, basically. And so something that I started trying to, I knew that for me, I wanted to make very transparent content. I just wanted to be very honest about sort of what it's like to be in circus, because I feel like Leah touched on this. I think Ross also touched on this. Like we're so superhuman on stage that no one ever gets to see the humanity behind us. And so that is something that I really wanted to bring out in my videos. And I knew that on camera, that can be really, really hard to do, to have that energy exchange of like honesty and just transparency. Because talking to a device is totally weird. Like it totally is weird. And so what I found hard in the beginning is being able to really be able to like be transparent without trying to like filter anything, because I'm like, oh, like I get too in my head, like, oh, maybe I'm saying something wrong, maybe they'll judge me on this and this and this. And it's a lot of pressure, because like when you put something out on the internet, like there's kind of like no going back. I mean, you can delete a video, but it's really just kind of out there. And so like for me, I actually like, I launched my channel in March of 2020. So like literally the pandemic hit, I launched my channel, and so I don't know what it's like to not be in a pandemic and have a YouTube channel, which is kind of interesting. But I started filming myself in January so that I could start getting used to being on a camera and kind of like looking into the camera and saying, somewhere on the other side is like a friend over there, or like a family member or someone. I started like thinking like, there's someone on the other side of this. And, if I talk to them like if I imagine this camera as like my friend or my family member, then I can be like who I am without any sort of like censorship. And so I guess that's like a little bit of advice. If you want to get onto YouTube, it's practice being in front of a camera and knowing that someone is on the other side, and that they'll be able to hear your stories and like what you have to say. So make sure to be comfortable sharing who you are, because people can can sense like if you're putting up a front. So yeah.
I relate to that so much, and also just like I remember when I first started, it would take I would have to do so many takes because I'm like talking it like something, there's nobody there, and I'm like used to like clowning with I mean, clowning is like you need the audience there, and so I'm like there's nothing there, and I'm like staring into this hole in my camera, and I'm like I would just immediately get in my head, and I'm like it's so many takes at first. Um and also I like over the past year have also the performance quality, like, you know, on stage you can be so big, and I've like noticed and had to learn like performing for a camera is totally different, you know, how big your expressions are and so on and so forth. And I also relate to the vulnerability of um putting your voice out there, and it's so vulnerable to like make something and put it out there for anybody, and like people, and because of the internet, um and people are behind a screen, they will say things that if they were in front of you they probably wouldn't. So like I've learned a lot over the last year about like getting hit by trolls, how to deal with trolls, and um which is also like, I mean, I like people have different approaches. I'm a because of the work I do, I sometimes lean into it and I'll play with them. It's like a proposal to me. um but other people like our friend Rachel Strickland has a great post on her Instagram about how to deal with trolls, which is just like ignore them, which I totally agree with that too. But that's definitely an aspect of, I don't know how much you guys have dealt with that, but I'm like, that's definitely an aspect of what I've had to deal with over the last year as well. And that people, um when you're starting, people will say mean things, and you just like, that's something you have to like get used to and deal with in your way, you know, whatever way that is.
Thank you, Ross. That does actually lead us like very well, like clean segue into our last topic of advice for up and coming YouTubers, the novice YouTuber, the person that is just now getting started, as is sitting in their bedroom thinking about starting a YouTube channel. People like me who have attempted to start their YouTube channel, or who have YouTube channels, who have content but just kind of experience burnout. Um, what do you wish someone told you before you started on your YouTube journey? I'm going to throw that to Leia.
Yeah, that's an interesting one, because I have the feeling like I learned so much throughout the time that I'm not really sure if I had not done it this way. Like I'm not sure if like a tip would have helped me, because I feel in a way you have to go through that. I'm definitely sharing also with you too, the fact of talking to the camera is something you have to learn. And even with the best advice of be like, talk to a friend or have somebody in the room, that is like advice that could help. But at the end of the day, it's just like, get up and do it and make your own experiences, and don't take it too seriously. Like in the sense of like, hate is going to come, but like try to not take that seriously, laugh about it, make your things. And I mean, I think the only piece of advice I would give is, try not at the beginning to convince all of your friends and family about it. Like at the beginning, I would post every single video on Facebook and everywhere. And so I had the feeling that sometimes people were watching it that were obliged to watch my videos. And so the whole comments were like, oh, so great. I'm so great you're doing this. But that was not the real audience. That was just the audience that was was kind of a fake audience, because they watched the stuff because they had felt like they had to. And the moment I didn't put that all the time there in front of their eyes, I had the feeling that other people could come in. And that's where I could see if videos worked. Like, for example, when I did the Cirque de Demain video, and lots of people reshared it, people I didn't even know that were just in the circus community. I was like, okay, here I'm onto something that people really care about because they share it. And I don't need to share it all of the time. That's maybe the only advice I would give. But besides that is like, make things that make you happy. Don't try to convince anybody about anything. And if it happens that you talk about something that people are interested in, great. And if it happens that you were interested in that, then also great, because you made something and you had a good time making it.
Thank you. Noelle, do you have any advice for a person just getting started on their YouTube journey?
Yeah, totally. So like, I guess one advice is obviously make sure to, and I touched on this in the previous question, to be able to learn how to be vulnerable and transparent in front of a camera, because I feel like that is so important to be able to like share your stories and your thoughts in an honest way, so that people can really like connect with you, and so like practicing in front of a camera and learning how to make the camera your friend or your family member is, I think, really, really important. And then another one, and something that I wish I sort of like knew, is how easy it is to lose yourself to what is popular. So I'm actually on a little bit of like a hiatus on my YouTube channel as I try to, because I was losing myself toward, I'm going to make all of these like trendy sort of popular videos. And I really lost sort of, at least to me, I lost my sense of like doing the videos that I love to keep up with views and popularity. And I think it's common to do that, especially I've only had my YouTube channel a year. So when you see views and growth, you're just so excited about it. At least in my opinion, you're like so excited. So I'm like, okay, gotta push out that because that's what the people want. But you can lose yourself. And so right now I'm really thinking to myself, like, okay, it's important to do trending videos if I do want to like sort of garner this audience, so that I can bring them into, like Ross said before, like bring them into like my bread and butter content. But it's also important to not just do those videos and do the videos that I really love and that I genuinely like, like Leah was saying, like that you're passionate about doing. And I just think that if you are like circus people are inherently like very good storytellers, and editing is so much like performing an act, if that makes sense. I think that's so interesting. So like I just encourage anyone who is wanting to start a YouTube channel to just do it, because circus just fits so well into creating digital content. And if you just start out on your phone, you don't have to buy fancy equipment. Start out on your phone. Like if you have a computer, like use iMovie. It's like a free editing software, and just start experimenting. And then as you grow and as you figure out what sort of content you want to create, then you can like start investing in other like sort of like equipment. So yeah, my advice is just like to experiment and just like grab your phone and just start if you want to.
Yeah.
And Noelle, you mentioned something which is actually a huge part of the YouTube creative experience, which is editing. And I don't want to have this conversation without touching on that topic, because it is a huge part of being successful on YouTube. You can film as much content as you want, but there's this editing process that needs to happen. Do you guys have any advice for editing for someone they're just getting into YouTube? They may be maybe they don't have experience with iMovie, or maybe they're just like, I need to have these crazy editing skills so that my videos look super fancy, and I need special effects and bombs, and like, do you guys have, which is not necessary, but when you're watching YouTube and you're trying to figure out what kind of content that you want to make as a beginner, your brain starts to go to the place of bigger is better, right? But that's not always true. So do you guys have any advice about the editing process, and what kind of content, how to create quality content without driving yourself crazy?
Can I talk about this? So I I got super into editing, but that's just how I am. So like at the beginning of it was because of the circumstances we were in, I was like in quarantine. I was like, so some of my videos in the beginning, I was spending like 60 hours on these freaking videos. And I'm a cartoonist. So I was like getting into the layers. I work in Adobe Premiere. And so I was like learning, and you can learn how to use these programs from YouTube. It's really easy. So it's like, you get into a program, you don't know how to do something, you just look it up on YouTube, and oftentimes there's like a 1-minute tutorial, 2 minutes on how to do the thing. So that was really fun for me. But this like goes into the previous question too, is just like the commitment. You have to like, I committed myself to making a video a week for a year, and I held myself to that, except for 4 weeks. I took 4 weeks off. And so like that schedule, and for your people that are following you too, they like, if it helps with the algorithm, it helps with your followers if they know that every Wednesday to Friday you're going to post something. And it doesn't have to be weekly, it could be every 2 weeks or whatever your schedule is, as long as they know to check back, oh, this Wednesday, whatever that. But yeah, like it's, I know some people don't want to even deal with editing, and some of the best, like most viewed YouTube videos are like a person with, like, I see this stuff sometimes that has millions of views, and it's like a guy with a thin piece of watermelon, and he like turns and you see out that it's like, nothing to it. It's like 30-second video, so since I'm like into film and stuff, I got into that and have learned a lot about it over the last year. But it's just like what your bliss is, what you want to do, I guess, in anything. It doesn't have to have the bombs and the multi-layers and green screens in order to be good on YouTube,
Okay, so we've reached the end of our panel discussion. Really quickly, if you guys have your favorite circus YouTubers, give them a shout out right now.
Oh my gosh. There's these people right here. I'm like rushing to my YouTube to look at. I mean,
okay, well, what
we're
other
a small community? Like,
let me rephrase. I'll rephrase the question. Do you guys know of any other circus YouTubers that you would like to recommend to the audience?
Oh, I actually know one. So because we're such a small community, so everyone here, I'm like, yeah, this is it. Like, there's one new. She's new. Her name is Emily McCarthy. And yeah, she's really dope.
Cool. Cool.
I
There's a
really
lot of-
like Circ Life channel. They do. Sorry.
No,
I
go
really
ahead.
like Circ Life channel. They do. Eric does a bunch of competitions. He's been around for about 10 years. Last year he did the world's longest handstand challenge. It had over 200 contestants in it. This year he had an episode series of the worldwide a worldwide like talent showcase called the Circ Life Project, which had like 18 episodes, which was kind of like an America's Got Talent or an, whatever's got talent on the internet. I also like Eric Bates' channel, who's a cigar box juggler and a little bit of an acrobat. He does a lot of tutorials, and that seems like that also works for him as well. I'm also a fan of everyone's YouTube channel here.
Yeah, there's a lot of like trainers. There's people doing tutorials like Megan Maroney. What I love about the Circ Life too is that it's about competition, and I feel like our society and like we love competition, and that's a great way to like get people interested in circus is by games and like playing games and like, oh, this is cool, and hopefully that gets people interested in us as well.
Oh, and I just thought of another person. His name's Kellen Quinn, and he's just this awesome, like, innovative juggler. And he does just like he does some like random stuff on his channel, but he also has like, if you're interested in like just random content, he has it. And he also has like his awesome innovative juggling, and it's cool.
Very nice. There's also something really exciting that's happening before we log off here. The Weber family, which is a circus family in New Zealand, they also have a YouTube channel. They've been creating like a reality show. They've been creating reality show content for a couple of years now. And that, because of that, their family got picked up for a reality television show that will appear on Bravo, the Bravo network in New Zealand. And if you guys are interested in supporting them, it's the Weber family on YouTube. And it's really like kudos to them, round of applause for just sticking with it and creating content, like sharing stories about their lives, what it's like to work in the circus, because it paid off and now they have their own reality television show. So I think it's really important for us as circus artists, circus professionals, circus companies to innovate what we do. And what's happening right now in the world is we're in the digital world now, and creating content is king or queen, however you want to look at it. That is it for today's panel. Thank you to all of the panelists that were so sweet and joined me today. Thank you so much. I wish you so much luck and success on your YouTube journeys. I'll definitely be watching. I hope you at home will be too. Thanks for attending this Pro Talk and staying up to date with the rapidly changing world of circus and the performing arts. We hope to see you next time right here on Circus Talk Pro. Peace.
Thank you.
You guys, so who read the script?